Welcome back, guys, to another review. Today, hopefully I have a little bit more energy, and we're going to be talking about Hostiles. Hostiles is directed by Scott Cooper and stars Christian Bale, Rosamund Pike, Wes Studi, Jesse Plemons, Adam Beach, and Rory Cochrane. So as far as the plot goes, it's pretty simple what we have. It recounts the story of this army captain who is forced, after many, many years of service, killing Native Americans to transport this old rival of a Native American chief to his homeland quite reluctantly. So what we really have here is a point A to point B film, kind of a travel, a journey in which things happen to our characters. The direction and writing is good. I would say that the director and co-writer Scott Cooper has probably done better with things like Crazy Heart and Black Mass, but this is by no means a bad film that he has helmed. I would say it is well directed, but the writing is a little inconsistent. What I mean by this is the writing is positioned in a way for the actors to act. Now, of course, in every film, that is the point, right? But what I mean by this in reality is it leads to some overacting, which leads to some melodramatic moments that are a little overly melodramatic. Visually speaking, I think the cinematography is very pretty with some really, really gorgeous shots of the scenery that has taken place with overall very good composition, I believe. It is just a well put together film, technically speaking. The performances here are what really, really shine, and I think that none of the actors here slacked for even a minute. Christian Bale owns the entire film. He is fantastic in this movie, as you would expect from him. Rosamund Pike also does a very good job, save for a more melodramatic moment that she has that I thought was a little overacted. However, I do think that that is a little bit the fault, at least partly, on the director and the writer and the DP for positioning the shot in the way it was done. Additionally, all the supporting roles were fantastic. It really was an ensemble cast that was basically completely star-studded. So the story, now this also is included in the writing, in the creation of what happens on the screen. However, when I talk about writing, generally I'm referring to maybe I would think more so the dialogue or the individual moments on screen and the individual scenes on the screen. However, this story is not bad, but what it does is it tries to inject a boatload of different themes, and it does seem, because of that, to lack a little bit of focus. The reason being is it seems to be sending many different overarching messages with all of these themes, but doesn't really focus or zero in necessarily on one in particular. Although there is one theme that does carry a little bit more weight, still there is a lot going on here. For me, the way it was crafted is just, it enabled some moments in the story to really allow some overacting, acting where it's noticeable, where it's time for the actors to act as opposed to really just fall into the character. This is where some of that melodrama ended up coming in, which I think is where some of the issues are as well. So for my issues with the movie, which I've already touched on a bit, really come down to a couple things. The inconsistency and kind of the direction of the story in terms of its messaging and its themes and its overall thematic elements. Some of the overacting and the melodrama that ends up taking place. Furthermore, the movie is kind of long, and it did feel a little long. It's not that I had a problem continuing to watch the film. I just think that it really actually could have been shortened. And there were many moments where I was watching and I thought, okay, it's probably going to end now. And then it didn't. Maybe it's going to end now. Then it didn't. Maybe it'll end now and then, well, it actually ended. You get what I'm saying. Another big con for my viewers, possibly, not for me personally, but I would say for general audiences, something to be wary of, is this film lacks a lot of levity. It lacks really any shred of brightness or light in it because it's incredibly dark, meaning it is excessively and brutally violent with a lot of darker thematic elements and lots of death and things that are just unpleasant. If that is something that turns you off, I probably wouldn't recommend it for you. However, it wasn't really a problem for me. In the end, despite some of its more melodramatic moments and its lengthy and maybe a little messy story, it still has a brutal and honest story to tell within its many, many, many different themes. Furthermore, this ensemble cast really brings their A game, every single one of them. This is what really elevates this movie multiple notches, because if you didn't have this ensemble cast bringing their A game and not just phoning it in, this movie could have been significantly worse. Also, for those of you who might be teetering on whether or not you can go see a darker, downer kind of film, there is a sliver of hope within the movie. I won't say what that is, but there is a little something there for you. Overall, I ended up actually walking away from it, enjoying it quite a lot, especially for the performances, kind of the brutal, serious gravity of the story, and I was able to grasp something relatively concrete, and I understood what it was going for in all of those deeper themes. So for me, it was an 8 out of 10. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, if you like my reviews, if you like my channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if you haven't hit it yet, why not? Why not? Let me know what you thought about any of Scott Cooper's films, whether that be Crazy Heart, or Out of the Furnace, or Black Mass, or what have you, or this one in the comments below. And as always, I will see you in the next video.